So a few years ago at the Independence Institute, we took out a few billboards to advertise a project we were working on, actually to embarrass the Denver Post on a story they weren't covering. And afterwards, somebody said, hey, you know, we can take these billboards and turn them into something. And then, you know that I'm probably the most recycling kind of environmental guy you know. And so they pointed us to this company called Billboard Ecology. Jerry Wheeler, thanks for being with us.
You bet. Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
I'm curious about this. We ended up connecting, and you made us a bunch of tote bags out of billboards, and I had no idea that this business even existed. Now, I'm not what you call a great ecological guy, but apparently you are. What is the business?
So we started Billboard Ecology in 2007, and it was really to just eliminate a waste issue. We stumbled onto roughly about 18 million square feet of material a year that comes down and is landfilled, and decided there was a good use for it. It had been used for farm and ag.
We're talking billboards. People don't know. It looks like board, but actually it's a material. It's more of a tarp that goes over this board, and they tie it behind.
Exactly.
So it's this weird piece of plastic.
Right. It's just like your tent tarp or what you use to cover, you know, a dumpster or a
like
house.
those big blue tarps you buy at the hardware store. All right.
You bet.
But you put stuff on them, which means it's great if you need to cover your house during a flood. You can use a billboard.
Yep.
Who knew?
That's right. We've donated them for that before.
Really? All right. How did this idea come about? Why? What said, hey, free billboards, we'll turn them into stuff?
It actually came from my son and his school, his elementary school, Bromwell Elementary, and they needed a fundraiser, and we had been trying to find something to make with the bags, and we were dabbling in tote bags and selling them to farmers to cover hay and things like that, and they loved the bag, and they said, let's do a fundraiser. So we made, you know,
so you were already trying to find a repurpose for billboards, and you made tote bags.
Made tote bags. It ended up being a fundraiser that schools liked, and we could raise money for schools. We could still make money as a for-profit company. So we started a small kind of out-of-home business at that time.
And the idea was just, and do you pay for the raw material?
Sometimes. Most of the times they're donated because we actually track and trace and take care of an issue for the advertisers themselves. So we protect the integrity of the brand by destroying the board and putting it to good use.
All right, so in other words, this big tarp, you know, it says Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola doesn't want you to have this because you might go and put it on another billboard and say Coke sucks or something on it. So you have to destroy it. And you
destroy it.
All right. Give me an example. Is this one of your bags?
This is actually an iPad cover.
This is an iPad cover.
Right. Yep.
And it's made out of?
A vinyl billboard.
So you put your iPad in there.
Slide it right in there.
How much?
Something like that. $12.95.
$12.95.
Retail, yeah. So pretty reasonable. Made here in the USA.
Talk to me about the made here in the USA part. All right, I understand it would take a lot to take this garbage and move it all the way to China, but I would think the cost might actually make it cheaper to do that. How many people do you hire to do this task?
You know, roughly if we have maybe an order for 5,000 pieces, we would keep a line of, you know, probably 10 sewers running for a period of a month or so. Off and on. So it's still difficult in the United States to keep sewers employed constantly.
Say more about that. Why?
Well, there's not a whole lot of work here. We've lost some of the skilled labor. So the billboard bags were perfect for that because it's actually a pretty simple design. It's pretty simple sewing.
So you have people on machines, big industrial sewing machines, cutting up the board and then sewing them, and it turns into things like that cover.
Right, but if we can't sell fast enough, then there's not enough production there to keep them employed for, you know, full-time.
Are these full-time, are these contractors?
Typically contractors and, you know, sewers that come in part-time to, you know, fill space in a factory here in Denver.
And how many people, you said about 10?
We have about 9, we have about 9 people in our office, and then our contract manufacturer here in town.
Talk to me, I'm just curious, with this push for a higher minimum wage, is this going to be better for your business, worse for your business? Are you going to be able to hire just as many people?
You know, it probably won't impact my business directly, but it will impact my contractor's business. In the cut and sew business, you know, a minimum wage hike will probably put some strain on her business from some of the temp work that she uses. Her prices will have to increase some, I would imagine.
And therefore your prices are going
Correct.
to have to increase some.
Yep.
And there'll be fewer people employed in these jobs. Is it hard to find workers?
It is. It's hard to find skilled workers here, and it's hard to keep them here.
It's a tough job.
Yeah.
All right, talk to me about some of these other things that
Sure.
that you've put together. So you have this, you're getting rid of garbage, and you make more garbage out of it, because sooner or later we're going to throw this away. What is this?
Sooner or later. And that is my business partner in Billboard Ecology, Scott Scheibel. This is his company.
Wait a second, is this? No, I'm not. even
Ecology. So
Ecology.
So it's a collar for a dog.
Oh, a dog.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then that's
bet.
fine. Yeah.
So it'll be there for a long time.
And again, it's Billboard.
That's right. It's Billboard. You bet. All repurposed.
So you're taking stuff that was garbage, you're turning it into here. Take a big government grant for this?
We've tried for a few grants. We're probably not the best grant writers, and that's probably could be the reason we haven't got it. But there is grant money out for that. So,
but you haven't gotten it.
We haven't gotten it. No.
What did it take to tool up? I mean, this is not reinventing the phone. This is not Apple Computer. You're not putting together a car. This seems like a pretty straightforward business. I take thrown away things, I cut them up, re-sew them into things, add it, and come up with fun products, which you can use for fundraisers, or in our case, it was kind of fun to use the billboard we had up and then give pieces of that billboard to some of our investors, saying, hey, you can have a piece of this, which was kind of fun.
Right.
But it still takes money to get up and running.
Yeah, it's difficult to create value, I think, today. It's easy to make a product and think I can get a product to market. It's not that easy to have valuable services that maybe go along with that product. So that's what we did with Billboard Ecology, was we provided a solution to a problem maybe advertisers didn't know they had, that their billboards were maybe ending up in Mexico or China and being shipped out, and those brands were covering a house or covering a boat or lining a retaining pond, which we do see sometimes. So the
that's,
value,
by the way,
right.
not a bad use for it either.
No, not a bad use.
If you need a roof and
if you know where it is,
and your Coca-Cola sign can do it, let me tell you, that's better than no roof at all.
That's right.
What was the biggest obstacle getting this rolling?
The biggest obstacle in any small business, especially when you're doing something else at the same time, is time. It's extremely time consuming. Underfunding yourself is probably the #1 issue.
What do you mean underfunding yourself?
Is it's a little bit like building a home, I suppose, or doing some landscaping. You think it's going to cost X, and it costs 3 times that typically. And in this day and age, I think it's difficult to get a hold of money for small businesses from your typical institutions where you used to be able to go to a bank.
Well, why would you need the money? I mean, first let me ask you this. You've got a recycled product, you're taking it for free, you're sewing it up. What possible need would you need for capital?
So we still have warehouse space. We still have to store all the billboards. We still have to ship all the billboards and get those into that location. So there was a startup cost, even as a out-of-home business, of $25,000-$30,000. Build a website, do some of the marketing.
So even before you could open up the doors and
Right.
cut your first bag, you needed a place to do it, place to store it, place to sell it.
Right.
Where'd you get the money?
It's self-funded.
Self-funded. So you had to reach in your own pocket.
Right. We both
Go
did.
to any banks?
We tried at one point, but it's all personally guaranteed at that point. That's the most difficult part, I think, with banks today.
Say more.
I think it's sometimes frustrating. I think with banks when you are you are not much of a credit risk and you're not asking for a lot, but they want 100 or 120% of what you want to borrow. Whereas they used to be much more inclined to take some risk. There is no risk.
You've been in the apparel business before, so you know some of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough being a small businessman getting that startup capital.
Yeah.
You got something here. It's not high risk. I'm not trying to invent the cure for cancer. I just want to make this product. You've got things that have value, warehouse space and inventory and all the rest, and you still can't get a loan.
Mm-hmm. Inventory is the toughest item in what we do. Apparel, any product-driven business, to finance that inventory.
What keeps you up at night?
Oh, what keeps me up at night is where are the sales coming from, every day, and you know, that's tied to the funding we can use to do more marketing, to sell more, in which we have to use that money to pay people to produce more. So
isn't that amazing that a small business guy has this chicken and egg problem almost with everything? You need advertising to get customers. You can't afford the advertising unless you have the customers, but you don't have the customers, so you can't have the advertising. You need great people, but you have to have the money to have the great people. All that stuff works. Is it just billboards? Tell me what this is, because this amazes me.
So this is Scott Scheibel's company called Quiet Spot, and it's a patented product that is a dog tag silencer.
A what?
Dog tag silencer.
So a dog tag silencer.
That's right. If your dog keeps you up at night, then you can
shoot
put that
it
on the tags.
That's what, if your dog keeps you up at night, you kill it.
Oh, absolutely not. You put the Quiet Spot on there. It's an alternative.
So this is for dog tags. I mean, real dog tags.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you put it around your dog's dog tags. Are you actually selling these?
He sells those to about 2,500 retailers across the country.
2,500 retailers. How many has he sold?
Oh boy, I don't know that answer, but it's quite a few. He's been doing
now,
it for about 8-10 years.
Now, is this recycled as well?
That's actually a neoprene fabric, and he has used some recycled neoprene.
All right. Show me this bottle, because this is pretty interesting.
So this is actually yarn that is made in the United States.
I'll put it right here.
And essentially what we do is we take the soda pop bottles that end up in the landfill.
All right, so you got a bottle.
Right.
You shred it.
18 billion of those every year.
Well,
we dispose
you're welcome.
That's
Part
right.
of those are mine.
Okay. Shred, and then we spin that into fiber. We turn that into yarn, and that turns into the shirt. And it's amazingly soft, wicks moisture. Essentially, plastic bottles are polyester.
And amazingly, it smells like 7-Up, so that's good too.
Tastes like 7-Up.
Tastes like 7-Up. So, are you and your colleagues are working on this as well?
Right. Right. This is a yarn manufacturer in South Carolina, North Carolina.
And this can be done in the United States?
It can be.
Do you want it done in the United States?
I do,
Why?
to some point. We do a great job in the United States still in the apparel industry. Everybody thinks the apparel industry is gone from the United States, and it's still alive and well in the yarn and and fabric side of the business. So we produce a lot here. The cut and sew side, as we discussed, even within billboard bags, is difficult. So we actually produce these in Guatemala. So it's a CAFTA product. We produce those in Guatemala.
Why do you produce them in Guatemala?
Cut and sew cost, primarily.
Again, it's hard to do business in this country, especially if it's manual labor.
Right. We have to be pragmatic about what we do. We still have to make money. So.
And how is the money?
Your margins are good when you can make a product from waste, and you can be creative, and you can control the whole supply chain, and you can still make money.
How much more expensive is this T-shirt rather than your usual Fruit of the Looms T-shirt?
We sell that T-shirt competitively with companies like American Apparel or Alternative Apparel. Compared to a Fruit of the Loom T-shirt, it would probably be 40% more.
All right. People want to hire you to do all sorts of fun things. Where do they get you?
They get me at ecocentricbrands.com.
Ecocentric Brands.
You bet.
Is that Billboard Ecology?
That's Billboard Ecology as well. So billboardecology.com too.
Billboardecology.com. Thank you so much, Jerry.
Thank you, Jon.
Listen for me on KHOW Radio. Check out the Independence Institute. That's independenceinstitute.org, and we'll see you next week.